All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Critics Collective. I am Legacy Lingo, and I'm here to discuss with you Crime 101, which came out in theaters earlier this year, February 13th to be exact. It is now available on Amazon Prime with subscription. Crime 101 stars Chris Hemsworth, Halle Berry, Mark Ruffalo, and a few other very talented individuals. I'm going to give you the spoiler-free review to the best of my ability. Let's go ahead and see what IMDb has to say about it. All right. An elusive thief eyeing his final score encounters a disillusioned insurance broker at her own crossroads. As their paths intertwine, a relentless detective trails them, hoping to thwart the multi-million-dollar heist they are planning. Wow, IMDb did not hold back on that one. That is the entire story in a nutshell. But fortunately for you, I still think that there's enough there for you to go watch and pull from it from yourself for yourself. Despite how much they gave away in that synopsis, there's still much to pull from this movie. All right. So let me start with my lows. One of the lows that I have, which is it just seems to be a trend here, is how they fell short in some of the writing. This character was designed to be a very efficient, methodical, careful planning um, person that actually ends up walking away from a couple of opportunities because of how careful he is. But then later in the movie, and again, no spoilers, but later in the movie, there is a moment where his big final plan, the big plan, the plan to do it all, to walk away, the big score, the last ride, if you will, it becomes obvious that that plan has been compromised. It becomes obvious that a big piece of that plan has been compromised. And the character doesn't do what is necessary to ensure that that doesn't become a bigger problem. And that really bothered me. The character decided to take his chances and try and see the plan through, knowing that this distraction, this problem, this compromise could come back to bite him in the ass and could make things go very wrong for him. And it just didn't make any sense based on the way they had already written the character. So it really threw me off. It really bothered me. Another low that I had, I was actually looking forward to this movie despite the fact that it came out in February. And if you don't know about me, my theory on movies that come out in theaters on January and February, you already know off rip that they're not going to be very good. That's why they come then to try and hurry up and make what they can before the big blockbuster stuff comes out from March leading into the summer. So I still, despite that, it coming out in February, I actually had some high hopes for this. I was anticipating a lot. So, and I was hoping it was going to be its own thing. But one of the other lows that I have is that this film, it was pulling a lot for me from Heat. It felt like it was a solo version of Heat. And when I say Heat, I'm talking about Al Pacino, Robert De Niro Heat. And the elements that they're pulling from, it's not about the heist really. It's more so about the things that are going on in a personal life, and if you're able to walk away when it's time to walk away, no matter what. And I felt like they were pulling on that a little too hard, and I really wanted it to be something else. Another low that I had was that the ending was a bit messy. It wasn't tight enough for me. I felt like things got very wild in the finale. And then the way they brought things back together, there were some elements that also should have been hinted to earlier that they were going to go down this road. Certain character decisions, I wish there were more hints of this being a possibility before. But basically, just to have the ending they had, there were a couple of characters that did something that seemed like, oh, and I didn't mind what happened, but it didn't really fit the way that they had set everything up before. Exactly like I mentioned before with our main character, what they created personality wise, there were no hints with another character going the direction they did towards the end. But now let's get into the highs. First off, the cinematography was amazing. This thing was shot beautifully. And even though I know I mentioned in my lows that it was pulling from Heat a little too much and I wanted to be its own thing, the cinematography itself, especially the shots of the city of LA, everything, things that are going on, the intensity while certain heists are going down, it gave me Heat vibes, and I actually wanted that aspect of it. I wanted that aspect of it, and I loved it. Um, I loved the way that these characters were always basically 6 degrees separated, not even realizing it. And then their paths end up crossing. I love stories like that where people are doing something and at first you don't see how it ties. I mean, well, you could see how it ties for the most part, but they didn't know they were tied until they ended up crossing paths. So I definitely appreciated that. I loved the acting from everyone. I thought everyone did a phenomenal job. There are a lot of familiar faces, like I said, besides the names that I gave you, that are very talented people. I thought they cast it very well. And I love the fact that this was, in my opinion, more story driven. It didn't need crazy amounts of action. It didn't need a big shootout. It didn't need it had some action in there, but it was more story driven and it was a slow burn, but it was a necessary burn. I wanted to fully grasp and understand what everybody's motivation was, and I did. And I got that motivation and I thought it was good. Some of the turning points again, what could have been flushed out a little more, but it's fine. It's fine. And I just really loved it. And this, despite it coming out in February, I felt like this was a pleasant surprise. Now, let me just go ahead and get into the accolades and the rating because if I continue to talk, I'm going to end up spoiling something. You guys just need to go see it for yourself. Now, in true Critics Collective fashion, we do accolades going from 0 to 5, 5 being excellent, 4 being good, 3 being average, 2 being below average, 1 being poor quality, and 0 being horrible, absolute trash. For me, despite thoroughly enjoying this, despite enjoying the cinematography, despite still being pleased with the ending, I'm going to have to give it a 3. I'm going to have to give it a 3 for average because of that big component. The writers could have been very much more creative with finding a way to compromise the final mission instead of allowing our main character, who has shown you early on in the film that he doesn't take chances, he doesn't leave loose strings, he walks away if things don't seem right. He had the big glaring light showing you, hey, this mission, this asset is compromised. But he decided to leave it up to chance and still try and go through with the mission, and it just totally took down a notch. And I was really, really loving this. So I'm gonna give it a 3. Otherwise, if they would have fixed that, I'd give it a 4. And if they would have tightened up the ending, I could have given it a 5. But so I'm gonna give it a high 3. We don't do halves here, but a strong 3, strong 3. Get in the comments and let me know once you watch it. Again, it's available on Amazon Prime with subscription for free. If not, you may have to rent it, and eventually it'll be on other platforms. Get in the comments, let me know how many accolades you give it. Give in the comments and let me know if you like the slow burn and if you thought it had too much of that heat vibe or if it was its own thing. Let's have a discussion about it. And if you really like the content that we're giving you guys and you want to support our channel more, please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the alerts, and join the collective community. All right, again, this was Crime 101. I am Legacy Lingo. We want to thank you guys for joining us here at the Critics Collective, and we will see you on the next one.